My love, I must tell you a story today of courage so great it has echoed throughout history, the likes of which we have not seen since the days of King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table. And then I stopped. And then I thought to myself, where am I? Why does this sound like a bad romance novel? Well, because it is. But it's not just any romance novel, it's my romance novel. Hi, good evening. I'm here to share with you the story of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Let me begin by saying that yes, the series is cheesy. Yes, the series is over the top. Yes, Kevin Costner looks like he aged backwards between the first and fourth movie. But there are two things that I absolutely adore about this series, even if they are totally ridiculous. Number one, the costumes. Ah, look at them, look at them, look at them. And number two, the Scottish people. Okay, fair. That isn't exactly number two. The Scottish people are the entire reason that I love this movie. So let's set the stage. We are in medieval England, although you would never know it from the non-existent accents or the suspiciously modern-looking castles. And England is in a state of despair. The Sheriff of Nottingham is taxing the crap out of everyone and stealing their stuff. And Prince John, who looks eerily similar to Guy of Gisborne, is about to take over for the absent King Richard. So really the only hope for England lies with Robin Hood. Oh, but wait. I forgot to mention. Robin Hood is dead. He's been dead this whole time. Actually, he wasn't really dead. He was just stuck in a cave for 20 years, thanks to a curse. Let's back up a little bit. Robin Hood is alive and well, living in Sherwood Forest with his merry men and Maid Marian. They are all having a grand old time robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, including the taxes that the Sheriff of Nottingham stole from everyone earlier. One day, Robin and his men come across a hunting party led by the sheriff and Prince John. Now Robin Hood decides that he wants to hunt an animal, so he shoots an arrow into the forest. Only problem is, that arrow happens to hit a deer that belongs to the royal family. To make matters worse, the arrow also hits the royal hunting horn. This means that the royal party has to leave immediately to go and inform the king. And who better to escort them out of the forest than our favorite band of misfits? They safely guide the royals to the edge of the woods, except for one small problem: they accidentally kill the king's stag. Not a big deal, right? Yeah, no, it's a huge deal. The king is furious. When he finds out what happened, he's so mad, in fact, that he puts Robin Hood under a sleeping curse. The only way to break it: find the horn that was hit by the arrow and return it to the king. Problem is, no one can find the horn. And even if they did, the king has apparently left the country, and there's no telling when he'll be back. So everyone gives up hope except for Maid Marian, who is determined to break the curse herself. She sets out into the forest to look for the horn and stumbles upon a hermit who lives in a cave. Turns out that hermit is actually Robin Hood. See, being cursed had made him lose all memory of who he was, and he'd spent the last 20 years just living in a cave and making pottery. Marian convinces him to come back to the world of the living and help her break the curse. After some convincing and a song, Robin Hood agrees. Together they set out to find the horn and lift the curse once and for all. As they journey through the forest, they run into a group of men who recognize Robin Hood and decide that they want to capture him and bring him to Prince John. Now don't worry. This doesn't mean we have to suffer through another battle with the men in the infamous slow-motion fight scene. Instead, Robin manages to convince the leader of the men that he's really Little John, and that he needs Little John's help to rescue Maid Marian from Prince John. Of course, that plan fails, and they end up fighting anyway. But hey, at least we got more shirtless Kevin Costner. After defeating the men, Robin and Marian finally find the horn, and Robin returns it to the king. The king breaks the curse, everyone cheers. Then the movie ends, and we get this. So while the plot of this movie may be lacking, what makes it worth watching is the sheer joy the Scottish people get from being in a movie. Let me explain. You see, the entire movie there is a running gag that the Scots are easily bribed and will switch sides depending on who offers them more money. For example, at the beginning of the film, Robin Hood and his men are ambushed by the sheriff's men, and the only reason they manage to escape is because one of the sheriff's men is Scottish and he switches sides for 20 bucks. Later, Robin Hood and Prince John are both trying to get the Scots to join their respective armies. And again, the Scots switch sides for 20 bucks. At one point, Will Scarlet gets captured by the sheriff, and the sheriff offers him a deal: join the English or die. And the only reason Will Scarlet manages to escape this fate is because a Scottish guy named Angus shows up, distracts the sheriff, and then saves Will Scarlet. And then later, Angus switches sides yet again because he's Scottish and easily bribed. Even the legendary battle of the movie is started by a Scottish guy who switches sides because he's Scottish and easily bribed. So yeah, the Scots are pretty much the reason that Robin Hood wins in the end. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is someone talking about a silly movie like Robin Hood? Prince of Thieves? This isn't Doctor Who. Well, believe it or not, there is a lot more to this movie than meets the eye. For example, the casting of Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham has been cited as one of the greatest casting choices of all time. There is also a surprising amount of LGBTQ representation in the movie. For example, the friendship between Robin Hood and Azim is very sweet and could definitely be interpreted as romantic. In fact, in the novelization of the film, it is explicitly romantic. And there is also a very subtle, almost completely subconscious nod to the gender and sexual minorities of the audience. In one scene, a man dressed as a woman sneaks past the sheriff's men, and he does it by disguising himself as a member of the nobility. The man dressed as a woman was director Kevin Reynolds, and the joke was picked up by audiences but went over the heads of the censors. So now it's your turn. What do you think of the movie? Do you agree that the Scots are the real heroes? Or maybe you disagree and you think the movie is total trash? Whatever your opinion is, I would love to hear it. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next week for a brand new episode of Once Upon a Time in England.